South Korea is deeply saddened by a terrible plane crash that took the lives of 177 people. The Jeju Air Flight 7C-2216, traveling from Bangkok to Muan, crashed and burned on the runway of Muan International Airport. This is the worst plane accident in South Korea in over 20 years, and it has made everyone very sad. Families are heartbroken, communities are mourning, and a feeling of deep sadness fills the air. The plane, a Boeing 737-800, was carrying 175 passengers. They were a mix of people on vacation and people going back home after trips. There were families, couples, and individuals, each with their own stories, hopes, and dreams. The youngest person on board was only 3 years old, their life tragically cut short. The oldest passenger, a 78-year-old, reminds us that these accidents can affect people of all ages. What makes this even sadder is that only 2 people survived the crash. These 2 survivors were part of the flight crew. They are currently in the hospital dealing with both physical injuries and the emotional shock of what happened. The disaster is so big that the entire nation is struggling to understand the huge loss and is looking for answers among the wreckage. As investigators work hard to understand what led to this tragedy, we are learning more about the last moments of the flight. Recordings of the air traffic control show that Flight 7C-2216 was landing normally at Muan International Airport. However, the control tower warned the pilots about birds near the runway. This information, which seemed normal at the time, is now very important to the investigation. Shortly after hearing about the birds, the pilot of Flight 7C-2216 made a mayday call, a scary signal that something was seriously wrong. The control tower responded right away and told the pilot to stop landing and try again. They told the pilots to switch to runway 19, hoping to avoid the birds. Sadly, even though the pilots tried their best and the air traffic control responded quickly, the plane crashed. Only 2 minutes after the mayday call, Flight 7C-2216 hit navigation equipment and a wall around the airport. The plane then skidded off the runway, causing a huge fire that destroyed the plane. Security cameras recorded the chaotic scene, showing how devastating these accidents can be. Right after the crash, many firefighters and rescue teams rushed to the scene. They bravely fought the fire and desperately searched for survivors. Sadly, they soon had to focus on recovering the deceased. The accident was so big that authorities are working very hard to identify the victims and give their families answers and closure. The investigation is crucial to understanding why Flight 7C-2216 crashed. Experts from South Korea's Aviation and Railway Accident Investigation Board are leading the investigation, carefully looking at everything about the flight. They are especially focused on finding and analyzing the plane's black boxes, which record flight data and cockpit voices. These boxes hold important information about how the plane was working and what the pilots did in the final moments. Early findings suggest that the landing gear was not down all the way during the crash, which could be a major reason for the accident. The investigation will also look into whether a bird hit the plane by checking the engines for damage. They will also investigate if there were problems with the plane's hydraulic systems, which control many important functions. The crash of Jeju Air Flight 7C-2216 has shocked South Korea, leaving the nation grieving and looking for answers. People and organizations worldwide have sent messages of support and condolences. Governments, groups, and individuals have shared their sadness and offered comfort to the families who lost loved ones. Jeju Air, the airline involved in this tragedy, has promised to cooperate fully with the investigation. The CEO of the company, clearly upset by the event, expressed deep sadness for the lives lost and promised to help the families of the victims. Boeing, the company that built the 737-800, has also offered condolences and technical help for the investigation. To show unity and respect, Jeolla Province, where Muan International Airport is located, has declared a week of mourning. Flags are flown at half-mast, and public events are cancelled or postponed as the nation remembers the victims and supports their families. The road ahead will be long and difficult. filled with sadness, anger, and a search for answers. However, even in this unimaginable tragedy, the human spirit shines through with resilience and compassion.